the old world pulling you and the new world pulling you, which would have the biggest pull? It would be the old world. And that's
Mhm.
why in the spiritual community, we're always being told to stay in your center so that you don't get pulled right or left. You stay there and
Yeah.
just follow your path. Yeah,
Mhm.
because at this stage, there are gonna be like people who don't agree with you. What do you do with that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think for me, and that's part of the ascension, right? Is that the same people that you used to hang out with before, or you partied
Mm,
before, or, you know, um, best friends, social friends, casual friends, family members, right? Hobbies, lots of things that don't align anymore, that don't feel kind of like how they used to feel. You're not getting as much enjoyment out of it.
mm-hmm.
Or you're just not feeling like you want to spend time with that person. They always bring you down, or it could be a million different reasons. But that feeling of not being aligned, not matching up, that's very common with the ascension. That is very, very common with this ascension. And that's happened to me on many occasions, many, many, many occasions.
Mm,
And what I do is, number one, I've become a good observer. I've just become a good observer. And that's part of just allowing a person to be who they are. If I feel like my energy is being sucked out of me, right? Little emotional vampires across the table. Then I just choose again differently. I know that next time I get invited, I practice, you know, being in my sovereignty and knowing what my boundary is and saying, you know what, I'm just not feeling up to it today, but thank you, right? And
yeah.
I just, after a while they stop calling, but it's okay to want a different experience. I think sometimes with society and familial, traditions, we don't want to say no, right? We feel guilty if we say no. We feel bad if we don't do what they said, and we get in trouble if we don't do what people want, right?
Yeah.
But that's part of this ascension, is having the
Yeah.
courage to stand up for yourself. That's self-love, right? That's
Exactly.
self-love, that's self-care. And just having the courage to say, you know what, I'm just not, I don't feel like it anymore, guys. I'm not into it. I'll just stay
It's
home today.
okay.
And that could be anything. Yeah, and it's okay. It's totally okay. So if you've been down that road where, maybe you don't want to go. We have the holidays coming up over here, I mean, right?
Oh,
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and
oh,
Halloween, and
right.
all these big holidays.
November,
And if
right?
you, November and December,
Right.
yeah, starts with Halloween kind of. But if you feel like, you know what, I'm just not in the mood this year,
Oh, we're gonna have a
but
Halloween special.
I know yeah, we
That
are
would
going to
be a
have a
good one
Halloween
to talk
special for
about.
sure.
Ooh,
Yeah, actually, Day of the
yeah.
Dead. Ooh, that would be a good
Mm.
one too. Yeah, I'll do my face. Ooh, there you
You
go.
know what? You know what? I've
Um,
got a confession to make.
yes.
I had a very difficult time, very challenging time with what you just said with like the people that are not in the same
Wavelength.
thinking as you are. I wasn't letting go. I was like, how
Oh.
come you're not thinking like me? It's so obvious. And I was there for a while. And I think it still comes into my awareness now. It's like, yeah, how come you're not thinking the same as I? You shouldn't be doing that. And da, da, da. So it's a
Mm,
control. And I have to learn to let that go. I have let go of a lot of it. There's still
yeah.
that part, though, that has been trained for how many years, decades, to just,
Yeah.
take everyone with you.
Yeah, and it could
Take
be as
everyone
simple
with you.
as, well,
Yeah.
and it could be as simple as, you know what, I don't text as much as I used to, or I got off Facebook,
Mm.
right? It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have to be an event, a family event, but I've had people, when I took a break off of Facebook for gosh, almost a year, and everybody was like, "What's wrong? Are you okay? What is it? How come you're not on Facebook? Oh my God, you're not on Facebook." And it was, and I thought,
Yeah.
is that my mom? I mean, so I'm not on Facebook, okay, but it was, and I think it's fear. I think sometimes people,
Of
not
course. Yeah.
everybody likes change. Change is hard. And I have compassion for that too. But I also was pretty steadfast in my need and my emotional health to not be on Facebook and to get off of there for a minute, because it was very negative and it was dividing. There was a lot of division and a lot of fear mongering. And And then I went through, I thought, okay, not everybody that's my friends are they're not all, not everybody's posting these kinds of posts. So I cleaned out my Facebook before I went back on. I did a clean out.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is no one's ever come back and said, "Oh my gosh, I don't see you anymore." We are so busy. The world is happening. Life is happening. If somebody doesn't see my post, they're not going to freak out and call me and be like, "Did you delete me?" I've not had that happen. And I think at the end of the day, we all are just trying to survive and just trying to get through each day the best we can. So, yeah, if you guys decide that you want to do something that is going to be different for those around you, try small, try little things. It doesn't have to be a
Mm-hmm.
big boycott.
Yeah.
You can do it
Yeah.
small. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did it work out for you? How are you feeling now with the choices that you're making? Do you feel
Oh,
stronger?
I definitely a lot
Yeah.
stronger. They still do come, and I call them shadows. I think we call them
Yeah.
shadows, and they still do come. It's one of those things where, oh, shadows do have a lot of layers. Like we always say, like the onion. It's like, oh, I thought I
Yeah.
got rid of that belief, but it's still here. It's still coming. So,
Yeah.
just be gentle with yourself. I'm not always gentle with myself. I still
Mhm.
fall through the cracks and the trap,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
okay. We're all in this. And what I noticed though, Letty, is I can pull myself back up much quicker
Oh,
than
yes.
before I knew all of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also just for those who are starting to be aware, is that when we were asleep in the past, like all of us, like we only knew one world, and that's the 3D world. Now we know the 3D world, and now we know that there is a much better world that we can always look at and be in that space. So there's going to
Mhm.
be always that pull, and you have to decide each time to go here, to stay in that high,
Mhm.
much happier
Mhm.
vibration. And I'm doing
Yeah.
that. I'm doing that. I'm not perfect. I wish I
Right.
was, but that's what I'm aiming for, to be
Yeah.
that perfect self where you don't really go down into the negative stuff anymore.
Mhm. No.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's a process. It took us all these years to get to this point. So it's not going to
Uh-huh.
happen overnight, right? We have to be
No.
gentle and loving with ourselves and also with each other, and understand, hey, my awakening happened and I'm going through this ascension. I've got this, I'm doing this practice or whatever, but not everybody's on the same page at the same time. I kind of, what I think of when I think about the ascension, Irene?
Mm-hmm.
Remember in high school, I don't know if you guys had this in the Philippines, but I remember here in the States, we had PE every day in high school, which I hated. But we had PE and there were different seasons throughout PE. Like sometimes it was volleyball. We had to all play volleyball. Sometimes it was basketball or whatever. Then there was swimming during the hottest part of the month, the year, right? So we had swimming. And this is funny. It's funny because, in the pools, they put those floaties. So you had
Mm-hmm.
lanes and there was maybe 8 lanes, right? Well, I mean, I've been kind of an eyes closed and just get me to the end. I don't pay attention, right? I just go straight forward. And then I realize, ooh, I don't know if I like that situation. How did I get here? Um, that's kind of been the story of my life. I wasn't mindful. I wasn't as aware. I wasn't awake and I didn't have my eyes open. I didn't have the vision I have now. Well, in high school, I would start in the lane all the way. They put me to on the wall. They would always tell me, "Letty, you're on the wall. You can't go too far. Just stay close to the wall." And I would always end up all the way to the left. So I would start on the right and I would end up on the left. And the other kids trying to swim, I would mess them up. I would crash into them. And I just had my head down and I was like, and it was just, that's so this ascension is kind of like stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Just open up your heart to whatever's happening so you don't mistakenly go into other people's lanes. But it's a learning experience. It
Yeah.
really is, just to be gentle and patient with yourself, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It
Yeah.
is. And, I mean, even with this channel, with the two of us, it is, we're learning from all of this. And you know what we did though is we thought about this and we thought we didn't think about the limitations. We
Mm-mm.
just thought, yeah, why not? Just put it out there. Why not?
Yeah.
So that's what I would encourage, each and everyone to do is just do it. Just create something
Mhm.
that you think you love to do. Just create it and then just put it out there. And who knows how many, what your energy can do, that energy of passion. That's what the world needs now. We don't want these
Yeah.
energies of control, of restriction, of you can't do that, you have to be here and not there. That's all. That should all pass by now. That should all be gone by now.
Mhm.
And that's what we're aiming for, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm excited about what we're going to be uncovering in our time together,
Ooh.
Irene, and all of the little gems that you guys are going to benefit from, and also just the joy of giving, right? Just being
Mhm.
in service to our audience and to people that are going to align with this channel and want to learn more about what it is to be a light worker, what it is to be in the light, what it is to be of service to one another. But we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff.